Hey, how you guys doing? Alright, let's do this thing. Hold on, I just gotta watch. Just wanna check what they out. Let's make sure. I'll be right back. 1 second. We'll actually solve this one, then I'll pop on a thing. Hold on. Let's see here. Let's see, queen takes f4. Actually, queen takes f6, king up. What's wrong with taking the queen? I don't really see anything wrong with that, but am I missing? Let's see, queen takes c6. Oh, no, that's actually a good move because I could take with check. Yeah, I'm liking that. What? Just, huh. Okay. We will pop on Chess TV really quick. We'll be right back. Alright. Let's get on this. First you check with the bishop. Let's see if we go up. G, F1, and there's no more checks. This one's a little more difficult. Let's see. So rook e7, queen takes e7. Okay, let's see. Rook e7 check, queen takes e7, c takes d6 check, queen takes d6, bishop g4, queen takes g4, and that should be a draw. Let's see if we have that right. I go G3, he'll go F. I go there. So king G3, king F5, king H4. H2, queen F4, there. This is actually, if he tries to come to F4, it's a stalemate. Let's see here. See, bishop e5. Knight takes e5, so we can't do that. Oh, bishop e5, knight takes e5, queen takes b7. Yeah, I'm liking that. What? Huh. I was looking at potentially this move here, my chess friends. That type of a setup, but I wanted something a little bit more. That's okay. So knight takes queen. Knight takes g3. G takes f7. King d7. So knight takes g3. G takes f7. Check. If king f8, and then bishop h6 is mate, so we can't do that. So knight takes g3. G takes f7, check, and then king d7. King d7 is an interesting line. and then everything's really defended at that point. There's nothing that they could really do, and we picked up a queen in that line, so I don't really see anything bad after that. They've given us a free queen, so why not take it, right? Then we're attacking his knight. Let's go for it. That's straightforward. Let me see if bishop d6 is a fork. But he can also play queen takes c3 at that point. Let me check something out real quick. Hold on. What do you think, Yuri? Do you see anything? I like the forking idea of bishop d6. But interesting. Bishop takes. It takes c3. Bishop takes. it's not that. Those are my ideas. Well, just protecting. Okay. Knight h8 is interesting move. Knight h8 threatens queen f7 mate. Yeah. Oh. No? What did I... But why doesn't the other one work? That's still the same. Oh, okay. Oops, wrong one right here. Okay, so it's a tactical combination. Hey, we worked through it, so that's what matters. Okay. Okay, let's see. Queen a4 check. King c8. Oh yeah, that is right. That's the... Rook takes c1, rook takes c1, queen takes d1 or d2 check, king b b3. So this is a potential idea. Rook takes c1, rook takes c1, queen takes d2, check, king b3, and then queen b4 mate. Don't grab the rook, go for mate. Well, this one's an interesting one. The first thing that comes to mind is knight takes d5, rook takes d5, and king c6. If knight takes, if knight takes d6, then we have king takes c7. Or we just actually we could take the rook. Knight takes d5, rook takes d5, king c6, rook takes d6, and then actually bishop takes d6 at that point. Wow, yeah, there we go. Knight d5. And yeah, bishop we're in check, so we have to either decide to move the king. There's bishop e3, d4, bishop e3, queen takes c2. d4, and if his queen tries to run. But it's kind of like if we don't play bishop e3, his queen can actually run to b7 and is safe. So it's kind of like what to do. maybe knight b4 is what you meant, yeah. I know you meant knight b4, yeah. That attacks the queen, guards everything. I think we got perpet. Here. So check. Ay, ay, ay. What are we going to do? Because... Oh, okay. Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah, knight b4 protects the pawn. If knight c3, the queen would have been able to take the other pawn and then escape. Saw that at the last moment. I was like, oh, that was a good thing we looked at that. Boy, this one is a kind of a tough one because queen e1, check, right? King h2, and then if we try to come back to queen e5, check. He'll go g3, and then we're in deep trouble. Oh. I missed that. I can't believe I missed. Thought that there was only a check there, but it's actually a check here, huh? It's a perpetual. That's blindness right there. Sorry, guys. You gotta be spotting on those. Let's see, there. If we play bishop takes b7, rook takes b7, rook a1 check, knight f1, and then rook d1. Huh. get our bishop. No, maybe not, because the rook on c3 could slide over. So if we try doing bishop takes b7, rook takes b7, rook a1, check, knight f1, rook d1, and then rook f3, and he's good to go. Well, we might have perpetual if we do this. When he plays knight there, we could actually play rook from A to A1, A2, and then we threaten a mate. See, if when it's there's a rook type of mate, if the knight goes to F1, so let's say we sack the bishop, bishop takes B7, rook takes B7, A1 check, rook A1 check, rook knight goes to F1, then we bring our A1 rook back to A2, and if the knight stays there, we actually have mate in 3, so the knight would have to come back to E3, and then we can potentially do a check, 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 check. But I think at this point, would we be up material? No. Does the knight take the rook after you go back to well? Oh, that would be interesting, yeah. Wow. Yeah. Yeah, so that doesn't work. Oh, that's silly of me. Well, let me see. I was thinking about, yeah, that's what I was looking at. But I'm still not sure if, let's see. D rook goes to B2, then, yeah, you have to be careful that, rook, D2, That one right there. Let's see, there. Then he has rook c3, 3c2, b3. I don't think that's right. Maybe. Oh, there it is. C to b3. There we go. And I'm not sure what to do after that. So I'll be right back. Just take a look at, calculate that out and see what would happen. I'm missing something. What? Oh. Wow, that was horrible. I can't believe that. That was, wow. Let's see, knight f3 check. Rook takes f2, rook g2 check, king h1, rook g1 check, king h2, and queen g2 mate. Let's not waste any time on this. Oh wow, okay. So rook takes c5, rook takes pawn takes c5, rook takes check. G6 takes one there. Let's see here. Say G6. Okay, I did not even think about that. Wow. So that's an interesting intermezzo move there. Wowzers. I did not see that. That's pretty impressive there. Queen C6. That threatens mate. And that'll win. That actually wins the. Does that win the queen? I think it does. Yeah. Bishop E2 check. Or E3 check. Let's see, F4. H. Close to mate. I can even taste. I can taste the mate here. We have it. We just gotta find which check do we want to set up for. Queen E3 check. King H5. So f4, check, king f5, h5, g4, king h4, king g2. Then we got bishop f2 as mate. Yep, let's go with it. Oops, I'll show you the continuation of the line, because it stopped at the best point, in my opinion. Right. Rook c7 check. Wherever the king goes, we can actually just move our king to either one of those spots. King king d6, or do I play rook d7? King d6, and it's actually a draw, because you'll play rook takes d6, and then yeah, so we can't actually do that. So we have to play check there. Check. 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 It comes there. And I come over here. And then, oh, wrong? Oh. I could pick up the rook here. Okay. My bad there. Missed that. So let's give that another shot. Alright, just one move shy. We got knight d6, but so knight d6, if knight takes d6, queen takes d8, then we could pick up a couple pieces in that line. Yeah. I guess maybe, let me see, if he takes there. Hold on, let me see. Maybe queen b5? Would it queen b5 be a move that causes some panic to the position? Or maybe queen c7 after that. That might be the move. I think that's what it is. Hold on, I just had to take a check. I'm looking at moves not reacting to my opponent's threat. Oh, that works too. We probably can take the rook. Just trying to see if there's... Yeah, we gotta take the rook because we can't take the knight. The bishop would take our rook. Yeah, this is the only piece really we can grab. Because this bishop eyes our rook on a1. So that'd be a mistake to have taken the knight. Bishop a5 is interesting. I believe that wins a piece. Yeah. Bishop takes bishop, pawn takes bishop, queen takes pawn. Oh. Oh, okay. Ooh. I want to check that. That's interesting. Ah. That's the reason. It's this knight here. I mean, rook here. Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense now. Why you have to take first. You have to keep this file closed so that you do win a piece. Gotcha. Boy. I believe we can actually pick up a knight in that line. Let's see if this line actually works. Queen takes, because you have to always try the impossible. Queen takes d5. If queen e1 check, of course we intercept with queen d1. So that's out of the question. queen takes d5. Rook f1 is mainly what he's going to play. Excuse me. King d2. Queen. We'll say f2. King c3. And there's nothing more that he could do. We're good to go at that point. We're blocked and ready to roll. So we can actually pick this knight up. I think we can even, if I'm not mistaken, just block, maybe. Can we actually just block? I think we'd have to just block. And he checks there. We just come up. And well, if we come up, he has check here. Yo. I think we have to go back down to d1. Is it a draw? Because we got to be careful. If we block here, he checks. We come up. He can't come there. What am I thinking? Just block. Don't overcomplicate it. Just block. If he tries to check here, you come up. There's nothing you can do. Rook g3 check. If king f7, rook bishop h5 check. Do we have to set up for a mate here? Like bishop h5 to prevent him from fleeing? And I think we can't, because bishop f h5, knight e5, rook g3, and then knight intercepts on g4. So we're kind of up a creek without a paddle on that problem. Yeah, I'm liking that. Let's do the first check here. First check. Let's check there. Oops. Nope. Oh. Drat. I didn't do the leapfrog. Leapfrog it. knight d4 check. Yeah. Knight f3 attacks the queen. So let's say queen d8 check. We just pick up the rook. Yeah, just pick it up. I have to figure out which. trying to figure out. Let me see. Queen, bishop, G7 might be finishing off one, but do you have any ideas? I thought for sure he was going to check. There we go. That's we're white now. And we're ready to roll. Rook d8 check, king e7, rook f d5. Check, comes up, and then it's mate. This one's straightforward. Check. Oops, I have to be careful here. Not to let him out of a box there, so let's see. Check with the queen, comes up, and then we slide over, check, comes up, and then check, comes over, we take, and that should be mate. Yeah, you got it. Yep, you got it. Great work. Great job. We got the check. Okay, rook h2, king g4. Let's take a look to see if we can't trade off one pair of rooks. That might be enough to turn the tide for us. Let's see. Rook h2, check, king g4, rook c4, check, king f3. What do we do then? What do we do? Oh wait, just h5. H5 stops all that. Oh. Okay, so there's a little more to it. got to keep an eye out for that one. I thought it was just a quick, not check, win the queen, but you have to sometimes make sure that all your lines are covered. Um, Bishop d4, bishop d4. I don't know if there's a way to save that, really save the queen. Let's see, bishop d4, queen h2. What to do after queen h2? I know we could check. Check. Yeah, bishop d2 is forced, so then we could check here. If it comes there, we come back and he checks. If it comes up here, we win the queen. There we go. Knight h5 is an interesting move. Is there any way to stop knight h5? Yeah, there's queen g4. So h5 isn't the move, it's knight f5. Knight f5, and that wins the queen on the spot. Yeah. Rook takes d5. Rook takes d4. Queen takes d4. Knight h5. Queen h4 again. Rook, not rook, do have queen takes c5 after that. So let's see. I'll throw a line out there and see what you guys think. Knight g3. What do you got? Oh, not knight g3. Sorry, knight. Remove the g3 and go to h5. What do you guys think about that one? Rook takes d4, queen takes d4, and knight h5. What do you think, Erie? We could play knight h5 right now, and if what do you think the continuation would be? A good one? What type of one would you think? Because we have to find the proper continuation. Trying to see if potentially knight h5 at this moment isn't a good one. Maybe knight h5 right now, but the bishop could take our bishop at that point. So I don't really see a benefit to doing that yet. Yeah. Oh. No? What were we missing here? Oh. Okay. Let's see if we can. That one was different for sure. Knight takes e5. Okay. Be blessed, dearie. See you tomorrow. Knight takes e5. Rook takes c8. Bishop takes c8. Knight b6. There we go. One more time. rook f7, queen e8, knight e7, and then we're threatening mate. What am I missing here? This is something. What? Okay. Rook takes g7, king takes g7, bishop c3. Yeah. There we go. We'll stop right here and we'll do some Gadakomsky. Let's see how we doing. Perfect. Do some Gadakomsky right here. Okay, so he's white, and he's facing his opponent. Basically, you guys, Stan Fan Lo. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but he's facing black. He's white. He's black. His opponent's black. Okay. Okay, so he did the knight f3, f6 line. Remember the most common lines for this? It's a d5. c5 is kind of a sideline. Knight f6. There's even knight c6. But you can actually kickstart that off with knight f3. So you really don't have to worry about that, and then you can get your London system. So like if something like this, all you're doing is getting the London system. And the one thing now is he doesn't have a queen to a5 or b6, so that's a line there. I've seen a line where g6 has been played, and then this kind of sets up for a modern attack. So you could just play there, just bring up. You might try fianchettoing both bishops. You just develop your knight. You fianchettos. You can actually at this point go c4. And if he tries to break through there, you just go knight c3. If he takes, now look at how many pieces you have developed, and then you have queen there, and you're actually going full guns blazing into everything. So the fianchetto line doesn't work. You could, in theory, meet the Stonewall. So with that line, you just play here. He plays there. You play, because remember this is here. No longer does he have this move here. So you can develop your knight. And if he develops here, you go there. If he goes here, you go here. if he goes here, then you can actually at this point play e2 if he tries that to kind of create the true Stonewall setup. I believe this is the Stonewall Dutch, yeah. You can actually develop there, and now you're fully developed. He's got a lot of pawn attacks and stuff, and then if you wanted to, you could castle. Or what you could do is potentially, let me see, what would be a good move here? I think an H4 is always a nice harry the H pawn, because this sets up for a potential knight to always come in, and you always have bishop G5 permanently setting up. You also have a H5 with, I'll show you what I'm talking about. If he castles, H5 knight takes, you can even play rook takes, and then set up somewhat of an attack like that. Queen would move, and now you're setting up a pretty good attack, and something like he can't actually play there, so that'd be bad. So let's say he plays there because he's predicting that you're going to play there. This is more reactive chess. Now you have infiltration in. So you always have to be on guard for setups like that. I don't know if I've never seen an H pawn move, so all I've seen is either D5, C5, knight C6, G3, F5 is an idea. You may face the Caro-Kann though. You might actually face the Caro-Kann in that line, or it's kind of a different type of setup. Not really Caro-Kann, it's kind of an offside line. You may face something like this, and you have to be careful again because he's going to try to give you an attack there. So you might need to, rather than play towards that way, play C3 here, just C3, so that allows, so you can meet this here with queen to B3, and now you're challenging him. And if he tries to like somehow play here, like, then you could play there, and if he plays here, you play here. You just develop. If he develops there, you develop, and if he takes, you take, and if he plays here, you always have B4 to prevent any of his pushing, and then you have here, and then if he castles, of course, now you got a massive attack, and we got harry the H pawn coming up the board. So we're the one that's pushing the position. His bishop is entombed. Our bishop is not entombed, so our bishop compared to that bishop is stellar. Our bishop compared to that bishop is still, yes, this is considered a bad bishop because of the pawn color here, but the difference is it's outside, and so Jeremy Silva calls it active, an active bishop. An active bishop is more important than a entombed bishop like this. This is basically, if we ever got a pawn here, a pawn here, a pawn here, a pawn here, pawn here, and these pawns were gone off the board, this would be a tall pawn. This would be considered a tall pawn. It wouldn't be able to really do anything. It'd have to stay inside its prison and basically act like a pawn. That's where he gets the term a tall pawn from. Okay, so we went over the beginning moves. You have to always, he even knows about this little trick here, so you gotta be careful with not to play this, of course. You guys see why. I know, we always gotta show this. And now you're in deep trouble. That's why that's why he played knight bd2, because if this here, I think we've already went through this, but that's okay, because you know what, we should always, and then if he grabs here, Now you grab the pawn, and now you got that. Now you got that, and tack, tack, tack. But you gotta be smart about your move sequences and predict what your opponent's gonna do. He takes. His opponent's reacting to his threat. This is actually a forced. He could have moved his knight back, but that'd been undeveloped being his knight. Knight G F3, and then A6. So what we're looking at is black really doesn't know what to do. Black's like, I think I'm going to attack on this side. I think I'm going to attack on that side, and black's scared of everything. A6 has one idea. It's gonna try to stop Katakamsky's queenside play, but Katakamsky is not really concerned with the queenside at this moment, even if that is able to be played. See what this is for fianchettoing, of course, the bishop, or maybe even advanced fianchetto later on. Somehow, maybe the gentleman's the person who's playing this is praying that somehow he can get a queen bishop there and trade it off somehow, but I don't think that's going to happen. But a6 is more basically gunning for b5, and that's going to stop a lot of Gatakovsky's play. So you can preempt this with a4, but that's more reactive. Why not just develop a piece? I know you're thinking, wait a second, isn't he biting on granite, like right there? Yeah, but in theory, if we can crack the this main pawn right here, it could end up collapsing like a house of cards, or like the three little pigs, the one that had the hay, the one that had the sticks, Huff and Puff. Basically, what would happen is if we can get a pawn here and start trading off, we'd have mate. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Cute little mate, let's just say this, right? Okay, we're just gonna make some moves, and then let's just make a move here. We're just making moves. That's not really probably gonna happen. You may once in a lifetime get a mate like that, but this is kind of a idea that Gatakovsky was taking scope on, this type of setup. You have to always look that far into the future. So he's kind of getting ready for the h-pawn. Castles, 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 f-e8, e1. So now this pawn is under fire, which means that this queen, he either has to play e6, which is a bad move in my opinion, really bad, because what you're doing is trapping in your bishop. You could now Gata has h coming up the board. He could do that, and he could play his bishop there. So maybe after this, let's say he tries to trade off. We play here. He plays there. He plays there. Let's say he tries to come in. We takes. We'll say queen here. No. b5. Takes, and then h5, and now we got a pretty good attack coming. If he plays there, we always have this. If he plays there, then you have to now drop a knight in, and now we have a weak point potentially that's going to fall. We always have f4 too. So rook c8, h3. This is to protect if that's going to happen. but it's not really a big deal, because even if that happened, you can just drop your bishop to e3. But this h3 has a kind of like a three stage purpose too. It prevents the bishop g4, prevents knight g4. It gives the flight square for the king, makes a pocket for the bishop, makes a pocket for the knight so that the knight could in-route in. So the knight could always find a path to g4 via h2. So how many ideas did that have? Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So it's a 5-move idea. And there's probably much more to even to that. So now you see how there's a 5-move idea. That's why my teacher said make sure your moves have and also my bad, there's a 6-move if he goes e4. G4 is a possible move too, so that's 6. That's 6 moves. A 6-move, one move that does 6 purposes. Knight f6 or c6. This prepares to reinstitute the knight. Now he's going to have to decide, does he want to double up his rook to e8 and then try his hand maybe at e5, but I doubt that's not a very good idea, because that's covered 3 times. If he tries knight after we play bishop there, queen there, if he tries that, then all he's going to do is help just make the bishop even safer. And now this is a thorn. Potentially, maybe, I don't think we'd want to put our bishop here, because that blocks that. So, and you wouldn't want to go here, because that would be attacked there. And then if you came here, that would be attacked. So I'll show you. If you went there, and then he'd be more than happy to trade off there. But you did wreck his structure here and make his dark square bishop bad. So he might try to break through there. So yeah, he's got to always be on guard for those ideas. The knight's retreating back. Now let's see, how many attackers do we have? 2. Still not enough attackers to stop a 4 protectorate spot. So this isn't an idea for a long while off. And now Gadakovsky's taking notice of that there's a couple weak spots in White's camp, Black's camp. There's A5 and B6. Those are pretty loose squares. Yes, they're at this moment guarded by a queen. These 2 points the queen guards. So she guards that, and this knight guards there. So this one's guarded twice, this one's guarded once. And this is a potential idea, and maybe even Gada might actually want to potentially play there and maybe even come in this way, maybe come around here in there. I don't know. So the knight does a lot of ballerina dances sometimes. It's very agile of a unit. Let me just see how we're doing on our time. Perfect. We're almost done, so don't you worry. We're about halfway through, close to halfway. So knight d6, and Gadakovsky goes in. So he's charging in. He basically wants to relieve his opponent of this bishop. If let's say that he played here, this would be a bad idea for his opponent to let Gada trade his knight for his bishop, because this is really the only active piece really in Black's army. Because if now if the knight can't come here, then knight can't come there, because where Where's it gonna go? Not really much. This knight could go here, but if we did that, the pawn would take. Then we would get a pawn. So and this bishop's biting on a wall of pawns. So it's like not good. It's like trying it's like having a sled, but there's no snow. That's what this is. That's what this is. You're going to be able to, for a while, slide down there, but it's going to scratch your board and really hurt your skis, okay? So don't you try that. uh, there we go. So his opponent has lost the opportunity basically to have played b5, b4. b4 he should have done something with this to have stopped that. I understand pawns can't go backwards, like potentially maybe something like that just to stop this from coming to pass. But it's eventually gonna come to pass. It's actually provoking Gata to play it. So it's like, what does black have in this scenario? Really nothing. So a5 and then a4, a5. And so we trade off our bishop. Now if the queen took, this would be not a very good idea because he loses a pawn there. So see ya, alligator, there you go. There, and Gata could potentially, he decided to play knight to b3, and he could have gone after this pawn here. But the problem with that is it's trapped. So you could try to like hold on, but you got a pawn. Now your knight's too far in, and it's like now just on the edge of being trapped. So you got to be careful. Don't get greedy about pawns. Ask yourself why your opponent left that pawn to be taken. Don't just go, there's something hanging. Hooray, I'm gonna grab it. No. Don't do that. You'll lose many games because they usually set up snares and traps for you to bite on. They'll set like they'll throw out a piece of meat to like a lion or something to trap it, and then when the lion steps to grab the meat, it falls into the hole. Basically, that's what this pawn would be to. Oops, my bad there. Hold on, let me get back to that one spot. Hold on, where did I go? Where did I go wrong? Okay, back here. There we go. This pawn right here, I was gonna go back to this part. It's kind of like the juicy steak to the tiger or the lion or the cheetah or whatever. But in reality, it's a pit. And once you bite and once you go and try to get the meat or the pawn, you'll get trapped. And then it's like, oh, how did I fall for such a, simple trapping? Happens to us all. But just be on the lookout. Ask yourself these questions Jeremy Silman said that I've read. Ask yourself, is it a trap? First of all, is it a trap? Second of all, is there a way I could take it and survive, which is material greed? Or third of all, is it a pure, just a oversight of the opponent? So first of all, ask yourself, is it a trap? Number one. Number two, can I take it and survive? That's number two. Number three is it an oversight that my opponent missed? And if it's a number three, go for grab that piece with all your might and be happy as can be. Feel happy inside, not outside, okay? Because chess is a mental mind. But be happy that I'm up a pawn now. I know I can play end game, and I'm good at an end game. You could say that to yourself inside and go, hooray, I'm going to do really good at an end game. But you never want to say that out loud because it's not polite. It's not professional, let's just say. But Gata didn't bite, so he retreated his knight back. His horse is like, no, I know that hay is a trap, so I'm not going to go eat that hay. So knight b8, and now that the pawn structure is just like ruined for black, white has plenty of time to dance. This is a semi-closed game because there's one file that's open. Actually, there's two files that are potentially, one's a full open file and one is a half open file. So it's a semi-closed. Knight b5. If the bishop was to take here, this actually helps Scott Akamsky a lot, because he could now set his knight here and have a two, not there, sorry, he can be attacking here twice and go after here. So if, let's say, they tried to guard here, he has queen that could attack here. And there's really nothing that could protect this. You could try queen here, but then the queen comes in and snaps off. She has a nice little mini brunch on black. She goes over. Oh, a nice little sandwich. Thank you very much. I will have that meal. And that's not what we don't want to get. We want to be able to give her a sandwich, but we want to do it properly. Gotta make sure. I always think of when they eat a poison pawn, you want to make sure your queen has good food. You don't want it to have a poison. You know what I mean? Make sure that you're the tester for your queen, so you don't want to just go out and get her killed. That'd be horrible. Just because you didn't test the position. Bishop takes. Now look at this mess. Wow. And wham! Look at, now he's got a passer. He's got this one, and this is going to be a headache for black now. See, if all these pieces got traded off now, all these pieces, this pawn right here would win, because it's outside and there's no way for the king to get it. And even a knight would have a hard time, because they've found out that a rook pawn is really hard for a knight to actually stop. So if you get down to like a knight versus knight endgame and you have a rook pawn, it's pretty hard to stop if you don't if you can't get a knight in front of it. You'll be in a world of hurt. There we go. Now he's got two. Wow. Two connectors. That is incredible right there. This knight has to blockade it. Now he's eyeballing a weakness, so he could in theory take, but then yeah, you have to then be on guard of, now he's one square away from queening. Was that pawn worth it? And then now this bishop would come in and then cause a lot of chaos. So I don't think it's not worth taking that knight. So, and especially when these are targets, Gata can just bring a knight to e3 and still be okay. Now everything's protected, and there's really nothing that this knight can do. This knight can't come here or here. He potentially could push. Now that pawn will eventually fall. Yep, there goes one pawn. Check. And then in comes knight c6. The queen moves. Now another pawn falls. So Gata's up 2 pawns. Or 1 pawn, sorry. And now this is so cool. I love this move here. This one is like a humongous attack. But it's like, for real, you're serious, because this is hanging, but it's attacking the queen. It's like, wow. Talk about a tall move right there. One sec, let me get me a drink. Talk about a tall move. That's like, putting a piece on a protected square. That's a protected square in a nutshell right there. Queen b7, and then boom. Now Gata doesn't have to worry about this because this is protected. He's got now 2 pawns. His pieces are so active. If the bishop took, the knight would come in, and now we have that. We got this. We got that. It's like, whoa, this is not looking good for our friend Black. And so at this point, after Gata took, his opponent resigned. There is no really hope for his opponent at this point because Gata's pieces are so active. One of his ideas could actually be just straight up rook rook c7 with an attack on the pawn, and then a knight attack. So that's the ideas. Do you guys have any questions before I log off? I'll give you 1 minute to put anything in. And if you like what you see, I stream around from 9 to like 11:30, somewhere around there. Sometimes I get on a little later after 9, but I'm usually like 9:30. That's when I get on. Or if work obliges. Okay, but you see how Gata slowly built up his position though? He just built up, and eventually he won. He overcame his opponent by just building up, taking advantage of every little thing. Okay, I'll take that as a note. Well, I wanted to thank you all for logging on and watching. And you know what? We have to remember what Tom Thumb said about life is about treasuring your victories and learning from your losses. And his second one that he told Tango was, remember that mistakes do not define you. It is how you handle the mistakes that define you. So remember, treasure your victories and learn from your losses. Remember that mistakes do not define you. It is how you handle the mistakes that define you. And like, we can even add a Bruce Lee statement there. Bruce Lee said that there are no limits. There are plateaus, and you must not stay there. You must go beyond. He also, I recently read that knowing is not enough, you must apply. And he had a statement that I read in a financial book that it was saying willing is the first step of actually being able to succeed. First you have to take your will and you have to be able to take it to the next level, which is succeeding. There's a lot of people who start out, a lot of players who start out doing really good, but unless they take that will with them, there's a lot of do, but unless you have that will to continue, your do will only end up only giving you a small amount. And you have to have the right perspective that the Lord is the one that gives us our every thoughts, our every breath. And I always remember the fields. There were, I believe, I think there's 4 fields. I'll have to. There's the one that's the wayside. That's the one that the sower throws the seeds out, or throws their talents out, and it just goes in the gutter and nobody does anything with it. So like if you have a talent for chess but you choose not to do it, it's the way side. But there is there is the a time when somebody gets really excited about chess, super duper excited, and they go full throttle. That's the rocky ground that when the seeds gets down there, the roots are shallow. What that means is they're very excited, but they don't understand that the long haul of chess is that you have to learn. You got to keep learning. You're not going to always be able just to play games. That's kind of that reminds me of the rocky soil. That a lot of players that all they do is play games rather than study. They're probably really good at chess, but if they would study, they would really grow. So when a better opponent comes and then constantly beats them and beats them and beats them, basically, like the sun is an example of that on a plant. It doesn't have very big roots, and then they just give up, and that's sad. And then there's the ground where there's weeds and it grows. But the problem is those are like habits, like things that more likely I think of those my teacher taught me as 1 minute, 3 minute, 5 minute games. You may study. You study a little bit, but you play a whole bunch of 1 minute, 3 minute, 5 minute games, and those drag down a lot of your understanding. You are more reactive at that point, and eventually, when you try to sit down at an over-the-board game and you constantly get defeated, it's only because of how deep you can think. It's nothing about you. It's that you haven't trained your mind to go far enough out. It's more, those rounds are more reactive chess, which means you have a plan already pre-made, but it's not far out. It's not long, distant plans because you only got 5 minutes to think. One second. Excuse me. And then there's the fertile ground. Those are the students that study, do longer games if they are going to do them. Make sure that they have a really well foundational understanding of chess, which I would say for a book that I'm working on right now, I'm working on Jeremy Silman series. So if you're wanting to do that, Amateur's Mind's a good starting one. So that would be a good like soil to put your seed in and start growing roots. That would be a good one there for you to start on. I would though say have a board, get a actual, and either do this, have a program that you can put it in on your screen, or more better that I found is actually having pieces. Get a mouse board, one of those chess boards that aren't wood, and get some pieces and then set them up and follow along with him on his Amateur's Mind. Either a computer, if you don't have a board and maybe you're in a small room, a computer works too, but just do that. Start out with that book first. It's really important that you get a good foundation. And then once that plant starts growing, it could actually produce 20%, 40%, 60%, 80%, and maybe even 100% crop growth. It's all about how much time, my friends, you want to put in to have that harvest of understanding. And I will leave you with that because that's a lot I understand of knowledge, and it's probably hit a lot of, I understand a lot of players love to play those quick games, but trust me, my friends, it doesn't help you. You're gonna hit a wall, and you're gonna have to make a decision. I have to study more than play those games. They may be fun, but remember how far do you want to go in your chess studies, and how high do you want to go up in the ratings. It's a choice that a chess player has to make. But I'm here as your Chess Cruncher friend to tell you it is so worthwhile to study. Okay, remember what we do? We hang up our coat, we hang up our hat, We sit down and study when most won't. We do. And that makes all the difference. We don't do those 1 minute, 3 minute, or 5 minute games, or we don't do hyper blitz. No. We do at least 15 minutes or above. 10 to 15, 10 minutes bare minimum. 15 upward is better. My teacher told me. Okay, remember what we do? We sharpen our blades, which is our tactical understanding. And we keep our eyes, our eyes here, and our eye of our mind, we keep that harnessed on the goal, which is victory. Then afterwards, you can take and teach your opponent what you learned and help them get better, and also share the word of the Lord with them. So that's cool too. I'll leave you with this. As Wesley So says, through the Lord Jesus, as I say, God bless. I'll see you guys next time on Chess Crutcher TV. Have a blessed morning, afternoon, and evening. And Lord willing, I'll be back on tomorrow, and we'll keep pushing forward. Thank you so much for all logging on. And remember, I'm here to help you. And you can always keep pushing forward and relying on the Lord. Great job. Go Team Chess Cruncher. Hoorah. Be blessed. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.